Hi guys, I just wanted to go over the notes that I gave the Monday, Tuesday group yesterday. And if you want a paper copy, Thursday, Friday group, you can get that from me tomorrow, or you can fill it in on Google Classroom. This is so you guys do not have to read the pages if you don't want to. You can just listen, fill in your notes from this little video, and then you don't have to go back and read unless you really want to. If you don't understand the information or you do want more information, pages are at the top here, and you can go and at least skim this section of your government textbook. So we are talking this week all about the House of Representatives and what they do and a little bit about how they are different from the Senate. So we're breaking Congress down into the two parts, House of Representatives this week. Next week, we will do the Senate. We will also look into our actual members of the House of Representatives who are in charge of this area of Ohio and who you would go to if you had an issue or if you wanted something changed or if you wanted a law passed. This is who you would actually contact. We're going to do that next week and talk about those people and how they typically vote and all that wonderful stuff. Okay, very first part here is how do you become a member of the House of Representatives? It's all based, remember, on state population. The House has 435 members. The larger your population in the state is, the more people you have in the House of Representatives, unlike the Senate, which is 2 from each state. Remember, we just did the Electoral College. We just watched that play out as we had a presidential election. That also is based off state population in these representatives that we have. So you have to be a citizen of the United States for 7 years before you could run for the House of Representatives. You also need to be 25 years old in order to run for the House, which isn't too bad. That's about the time you are out of college, just getting your first job. And lastly, you need to be a resident of the state where you are running to be a member of the House. So I could not go to Michigan and run to be a member of their House of Representatives for the United States because I do not live there. I'm a resident of Ohio. So not huge requirements, but that's what you need to run for the House of Representatives. Okay, the second part. We should know this by now. Number one thing that Congress does is make laws. So that's their number one job. They do other things too. They can declare war. They have to check the executive branch and check the judicial branch and those kind of things. But the number one thing that the legislative branch does, Congress does, is make the laws. So that's what this is focused on here. When they make laws, they have a whole set of rules that they have to follow. These are called complex rules. And the House of Representatives actually has more of these complex rules than the Senate. The Senate is a little more lenient in their rules, probably because it is a smaller group and the House has all 435 people. So the complex rules are just rules that are set up to move legislation through the House of Representatives somewhat smoothly, quickly, even though it can take years to go through one part of Congress trying to make a law. It can also move through very quickly depending on what the law is about and how fast the country needs this law. Committee work. This is if you are in one of the committees when we're making a bill into a law. These are the people who are doing the main work. They are writing the bill. They are adding to it. They are changing it. They are studying. They're getting information. They're trying to persuade people and make sure that they will have enough people to approve this bill. So this is the committee work, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the very bottom. They are also supposed to make sure in this part that they are doing what the people who have elected them want them to do. Because remember, they want to be reelected to this position because this is a pretty cool gig. And they're going to make good money and they're going to have some power and they're going to have a pretty nice job. So they want to continue with that job and they're reelected every 2 years. So they have to make sure that they are paying attention to the people who have voted them into this position. The House of Representatives, just like the Senate, when we talk about it, it's organized by party. Everything in our country today is organized by political party. So Republicans sit on one side in the House, Democrats sit on the other, and independents are mixed in there as well, and Green Party and Constitutional Party and those other parties that we have mentioned. There's not many of those people. It's mainly Republicans and Democrats, but they are divided in the House and the Senate. And they usually vote differently too on a lot of these bills, trying to make them into laws. Okay, leadership in the House of Representatives. If you are chosen as a leader, you are in charge of other people. And these are the 6 things that you are supposed to do as a leader in the House of Representatives. You're supposed to help organize your political party and get them on board to passing these different bills into laws. Or they can actually organize them to go against some of these bills so they do not become laws. Especially right now if the president wants it and it's the Democrats, they a lot of times will organize to try to go against whatever bill they are trying to pass, the Republicans are trying to pass through. Okay, scheduling. You want to schedule your political party there on certain times, certain dates, so that they can vote for these bills, because not everybody is there at the same time. Sometimes they're back in their home states doing other things. So you want to make sure that people are there when you need them to be there. Getting lawmakers to report back. Do the people want this? Do your voters want this? What do we need to add? What do we need to change? So you need to get information from other people too, which is the next one, number 4 here too. Getting information. You are trying to, again, get this passed and have the best law possible, because this law is going to affect the entire country. So what information do you need? Is this going to be safe when you pass it through? All that stuff is going to go into number 4 here. 5. What's the president think about this bill? Is he on board? Is he not on board? Keeping in touch with the president, especially right now, the Republican Party. And when we flip to our president-elect Biden, it will be the Democrat Party who will constantly be talking with the president and seeing what he feels, what he wants as far as this bill is concerned. And then also, last thing, you are going to try to persuade or influence the people in your party from the House of Representatives, in this case, to follow party lines. That means if all of the Democrats are voting for this bill, and then you want everybody in the House of Representatives that is a Democrat to vote for it, or if they're voting against it, same thing. Republicans, same thing. And those independent people too, you want to persuade them to come to your side as well. So again, if you are a leader in the House of Representatives, this means you also make more money. So this would be a position you would want. These are the 6 things that you have to do. The top leader then, the top of the top, is the person called the Speaker of the House. They're leader of the House of Representatives. The person who is our Speaker of the House right now currently is Nancy Pelosi. You have probably heard her name. Her and President Trump do not get along. She is a Democrat. President Trump is a Republican. She is the one that after he gave his last State of the Union speech, she took the speech right then and there in front of him and ripped it up. He wouldn't shake her hand. Yeah, they don't get along at all. But Nancy Pelosi, she has been there a while. She's actually in our government books. There's a picture of her. She's much younger in that picture, but that's all right. She's been in the House for a very long time, and she has been Speaker of the House for quite a while as well. She has done some very cool things, but yeah, she does not get along with the president at all right now. Okay, there are people then that are underneath Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House. There's a majority leader. This is like the second in command for the House of Representatives, and this person is there to help Nancy Pelosi out and help her get people on board and get bills passed and talk with the president and those kind of things, especially, like I said, right now, because Nancy and President Trump do not get along and they do not speak much. And then there are these people called whips, which is kind of a cool name, kind of an interesting name. There's these people called whips, and their job is to encourage people to vote certain ways to pass laws. Okay, so they are the ones who are going to, we'll say, all of the Republicans and the House of Representatives and trying to get them on board with the bill, or the independents or whoever. So these people are constantly going to the other members of the House and getting them to vote one way or another. Okay, we have already discussed how we make laws, but it's important to go over again here as we're talking about the groups of people who actually make the laws. So bill to law process, remember, it starts with an idea. Anyone can give one of our Congress people an idea. In this case, we're going to start with the House because we're talking all about the House of Representatives here. So the idea, once it's given to Congress, is called a bill. It goes in the House of Representatives. Remember, there's 435 people. Goes to the House committee, small group, and they do what we talked about up above here as part of that committee work. They are the ones doing the majority of the work before they pass it on to the entire House. All 435 people vote. If a majority vote yes, that's over half, then it passes on to the Senate. Senate is same process, and we'll talk about this next week. It goes to the Senate, goes to committee first, entire Senate, and then members from both the House of Representatives and the Senate come together in what's called a conference committee. They again change, add, make sure that the bill is the way they want it before it passes on to the President of the United States. Once the President gets it, he can either sign it into law or he vetoes it. If it's a veto, remember, Congress has the power to override his veto with checks and balances. They can override that. And remember, the judicial branch, part of their checks and balances is to make sure that that law is constitutional. If any time through this process they say it is unconstitutional, goes against the U.S. Constitution, it's done. It's over. So that is just a really quick little tutorial over the House of Representatives and these notes. You can go back, guys. You can pause it at any time to write this information down. You can play it again if you love hearing my voice. Woo-hoo. Go ahead, play it again. And remember, you can always go back to those pages in your book to review and look at some of the graphics and pictures and stuff.